Good morning
All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
and welcome to
Welcome.
NBCC.
Welcome to NBCC. Oh, I've got to get one for me. Well, welcome to North America. Welcome to the world. Um, as always, but for those who are new this week, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Claire Kelly, and I am the International Immigration Advisor for NBCC. I am broadcasting live from the Moncton campus for NBCC. It's not sunny out. It's gray. It's cloudy. It's not snowing. It's not sunny. It's cloudy.
Yep.
How about you, Henny? Where are you coming from?
My name is Henny Kamal. I'm International Affairs Coordinator, and I broadcasting from corporate office in Fredericton. We got a little bit of freezing rain, but
Yeah.
it's getting a little bit better right now. Yeah.
All right. Good.
And
So, as always, we've got a full webinar for you today, a 1 hour webinar. We've got a few announcements to start off, and then some comments, frequently asked questions that we're going to address up front. And then the last 20 to 30 minutes, we will take live questions from you. So first, yeah, Henny, you wanted to start with some announcements?
yep. I just want to let students know. First of all, I want to thank you everyone for your emails, for all the messages that you send in to us, and really appreciate your attention. I receive numbers of emails and students like our webinars. I want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for feedbacks, and we keep doing this webinars, and we this time we're going to do the bi-weekly webinars every Wednesday,
Mhm.
because right now we're expecting students who's coming is in spring. It would be separate private session for them. So for this
Mhm.
reason, we are going to do our webinars bi-weekly
Bi-weekly.
every Wednesday. And this information you can find on our NBCC Facebook page, NBC International Facebook page, or on our website,
Mhm.
nbcc.ca, under international, and there is a resources where you can find the schedule for upcoming webinars. And of course, with your registration, you already know
Yeah,
the schedule,
that's
just
that's gonna add.
worth to mention.
Yeah.
And registration, just want to give the announcement of important dates, that registration for spring term for students who is coming in spring going to be open on March 23rd. The students who is going to join NBCC in April will receive email, and you just follow the link and please register for your upcoming course, so we will know that you are coming and you're going to attend NBCC. But
So
as I
that's only
said,
for
yep,
April starting students. Yep.
yes,
Yep.
that's correct.
Awesome.
And I think another topic that it's very important for us, because we talk a lot here, but of course we're doing it for you, and we
That's right.
want to ask you guys if there is any if there are important topics for us to discuss. What are important topics for you and what you want us to discuss in the future. Please leave your the topics that you would like us to cover in question bars, and
Mhm.
we will take them down and we will work prepare for this, and we will discuss important topics for you in the future.
Yeah, because as if you've attended a few of these weekly webinars, now bi-weekly webinars before we are going into April, are pretty open. Like they're pretty flexible to what based on what questions we're receiving every week. When you do start, when you're going to, obviously all of you who are listening have been accepted to NBCC, but when you are about to arrive, so there's the April intake, the September intake, and the January intake. Um, Before those intakes start, Henny and I, we have a set of pre-arrival webinars. And those, we have separate themes for them. So we have a very specific topic. We have presentations on everything from like housing to culture shock to working in Canada to insurance. So all of that you will get in the weeks leading up to whenever you are going to start at NBCC. So those are themed webinars. But yeah, what we would like to know is for these open weekly or biweekly webinars, are there some topics that we could cover with you? So yeah, so I think that's a good one. So as Hanny said, please put that in the question bar.
Yep.
Um, but so thank you for those announcements, Hanny. Um, we've
You're welcome.
also got a great suggestion from our colleague who has tuned into a few of our webinars, and they suggested that we should give students a sense of what's happening on NBCC campuses, whatever that week is. So I think the last time we had a webinar, I mentioned that it was Food Truck Week on the Moncton campus. That's when our culinary arts, our cooking students, um, had a competition of different food. So they each had to come up with a menu um, and the prices, and they worked with the marketing students to put up posters around campus. And it was actually, yeah, like every lunch for a week, so 5 lunches, they were open for 2 hours and had really produced really good food. So that's an example. That was a couple weeks ago. That's Food Truck Week, and that was happening specifically on the Moncton campus because that's where our culinary arts and marketing program happens. But happening right now, again, I'm on Moncton campus, so I know exactly what's happening here. But it's also happening on most of our 6 campuses right now. Is there are career fairs happening? So students at NBCC, most students, about 95% of our students, do have a work experience part of their program. So it's either an internship or on-the-job training or a full co-op. And for that, you do need to find an employer to hire you for that time. And again, depending on your program, it could be 8 days or it could be 8 weeks. We've talked about this before. This is when you needed a separate work permit for that. But right now, our students are looking for their employers to be matched up for that work experience. So on Thursday, for example, we're having a career fair here on campus where students are they're going class by class to our gymnasium to meet with different employers. And so that's something that happens on, I believe, all 6 campuses because all 6 campuses have internships or on-the-job training or co-op. And but also there are a lot of jobs, at least in Moncton, there are job fairs coming up on March 19th and March 26th, where students are looking for maybe either internship opportunities or long-term opportunities for them to work after they graduate. So so yeah, March, April, May are definitely the peak times for finding that work experience and those jobs long term. So that's a snapshot of what's happening on the MCC campuses right now. Yeah, does that sound good, Hanny? Yeah, awesome. So that was my announcement. That was my addition to this week's webinar. So I think we're going to move to questions and content of what we want to inform you of this in this webinar.
Yep. Um, so first of all, I know that some of the students are coming earlier, and for this reason, it would be good idea for you to purchase early arrival insurance at with GuardMe, because as you may know, your insurance will the NBCC student insurance will cover you during your study, which if we're talking about the spring, it starts I believe April 21st. But if you come in, let's say 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before, you would need insurance in case something would happen. So I would definitely encourage you to refer to GuardMe website. I will just probably share the screen here and show you where you can find the information. Just
Oh, do you need? Oh, okay, you got it.
can you see the screen?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So if you go the Guardman NBCC departure inbound early arrivals, you can find the information on the insurance, as I mentioned before. That insurance that you purchased, that you well, basically you pay it, and it's part of your tuition and mandatory fees. That insurance will cover you during your study. But if you come in a little bit earlier, you would need to buy early arrival insurance. It's not expensive, and BCC international students will receive the discount, and I would strongly encourage students to purchase this insurance in case
Mm.
they might need it. It's always nice to have the insurance handy, and that's what I had.
Yes, definitely.
We're going to talk a little bit about this a little bit in more details with the spring intake students, and
Mm-hmm.
but for now, so it gives you the sense. I'm not sure if everyone can attend our webinars for pre-arrival, but yeah, I think it's worth to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything from your side you want to add, or
Uh, do you want me to mention what students should be doing right now?
yep,
Okay. So my major content piece today is, and I will be saying this probably every single webinar until until you arrive. Well, hopefully not right up until you arrive. But from now for April students, hopefully you've already done this, but for our fall students, if you have been accepted, you have your letter of acceptance from NBCC, now is the time to apply for your study permit, okay? This is essential for you to get that study permit as soon as possible. The processing time varies from country to country. And even if it's a short processing time now and you're like, oh, I can wait, I can not worry about it, I can apply in a few weeks, a few months, please don't think like that. Please apply for your study permit as soon as possible. Okay. It is a big deal. Like you do need to have every student who does not have a Canadian passport needs to apply for a study permit. And visa, that will go along with your study permit if you're coming from a country that requires a visa. But it's essential that you apply for this as soon as possible. Mostly because, yeah, processing times can increase. They usually do increase every week leading up to the September intake, which is the biggest intake across Canada. So, thousands, hundreds of thousands of students will be arriving in Canada at the same time. So that means the closer you get to September, the longer it's going to take because more and more people are putting in the requests. So if you've received a letter of acceptance from NBCC, please apply for your study permit now. So that's because processing time could take long. It takes some time to get all your documents together. So, make sure you're starting that process now. And also, hopefully it doesn't happen. But if for whatever reason, if you get refused and you need to apply again, it's really important that you're starting that now in March so that, if it takes a month, you get denied in April or May, you still have time to apply again. Okay, so that's why I'm just gonna, yeah, repeat this again. Please apply for your study permit ASAP. And I'm not gonna go through the process, but, oh, are you able to, I don't
do
have
you
the
want me?
option to share my
Yeah,
screen.
I will give
Do I?
you the
Oh, that power?
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Show my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
You can? Okay, great. So, um, everyone can see the NBCC website? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Admissions. Oops. Oh, sorry. I'm on my laptop, and so everything's a little bit smaller. So, okay. Visas, permits, and immigration. That's where you'll find a lot of helpful information, especially the section, as I've mentioned, this is where I put all of my resources and guides. So the study permit requirements and steps. Again, whether you're coming from China, India, Pakistan, Morocco, Senegal, the Philippines, or Vietnam, you have two options to go through student direct stream or the regular study permit stream. And then for all countries, going through the study permit, like regular study permit stream, here are the requirements and the steps. And I'm going to say this, and we've talked about this before, but as I mentioned, because work experience is part of most programs at NBCC, I would recommend adding this letter for mandatory work experience so that you do get that work permit up front. And again, hoping that you're not going to get refused, but if for whatever reason you have been refused, or if you just want to prevent from getting refused, here is some advice on the top reasons why people are refused and what you could do to avoid getting refused. Or if you're applying for the second time, here's some help. So again, these resources and guides, those top 4 are really important to you in applying for your study permit as soon as possible. Okay.
Great.
Ta-da. Is that good?
And if
All
I
right.
just can add something here,
Yeah.
because a lot of students, from what I heard, a lot of students when they check the processing time, let's say it says
Mhm.
3 weeks, and I think that's all it takes, 3 weeks. But please keep in mind
No.
that it's time counts from the moment when you submit documents, and sometimes immigration officer might request you additional documents or ask you to do
Mhm.
criminal check,
Biometrics,
biometrics,
criminal
and all that
check,
stuff.
medical exam, all of that can potentially happen. So you're right. Good point, Henny. So
Yep.
apply
Because,
ASAP as soon as possible. Okay, that's what
and
I had to do.
for work permit also, the students asking me about the length of the practicum,
Mhm.
because one of the students, he got the work permit for 2 months, and he said, is this enough for me to do my practicum? And as you
Mhm.
can see in your letter of acceptance, in section 24, it says less than 2 months. So if you get your work permit for 2 months for practicum, it should be enough for you to complete your practicum, because usually practicum takes from 3 to 6 weeks. It depends on the
Mhm.
program, but
Mhm.
a lot of students wondering how long would it take to complete the practicum.
Exactly. I'm hopefully going to have an assistant working with me, helping out with some immigration resources, building more immigration resources. That's going to be helpful. So an NBCC student's hopefully going to join me for their internship, and it will be 4 weeks long. So
Okay,
very excited for that.
great.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring them on the webinar sometime. Anyway, we'll see. So, but that happens. Internships at NBCC happen mostly in May, in the month of May. Some start at the end of April, some go until the end or mid-June, but yeah, most definitely in the month of May is when everyone's out on internship. And as I said, they can be as short as 8 days, they can be as long as 8 weeks, but whether they're paid or unpaid or whatever they're called or however long they are, you need that separate work permit for that part. So yeah, okay. So lengths of practicum, and you wanted to talk about waitlisted applicants.
Yep. As you may know, the seats at NBCC filling up very quickly, and some of the students might be on a wait list, and the questions that comes, they ask me, is there any opportunity for me to be accepted because I've been on a wait list? And my best suggestions would be, yes, there is. You can check our seats available list. I will just check if you can change. I'll change the
Oh,
present, and I'll show students what they can do in regards to the waitlisted programs.
are you able to, do you want me
Yep, I
to, okay,
will
give me,
I will share my screen right now. So
okay.
as you can see, here is, you can find the available program under NBCC admission. If you click seats available, so it brings you to seats available for international students. And as you can see, there is a programs available in different campuses. So for example, if we take carpentry, this program available in Miramichi, St. Andrews, and Woodstock. So please check seats available list, and you may find your programs that is still available in other campus, and then you would need to contact our admission office and request to do a campus change or program change. It depends. You might change your program or you might change your campus. And students wondering if I can predict, situation based on number on the wait list. Unfortunately, I cannot predict if, let's say, if you second in line, if you're going to be accepted or not. Of course, if you like first to second in line, there's more chances that you might be accepted, but there is no guarantee. I would not, advise you to just wait until it's too late. So you, as you know, with one application, you can apply for two programs, so you can change one of the maybe program of your second choice and find something that is available right now. So that's basically what I want to say to students who is on waitlisted, who is on waitlist and who is waiting right now, so they can explore new options and they can change the program of their choice to something that is still available at NBCC. That's what I had from my side.
Awesome. And another question that we got, does NBCC accept WES?
Yep.
World Education Services Education Credential Assessment. Yeah.
Yep. And the answer for this, yes, NBCC does accept WES evaluation. So if you have WES evaluation, ask WES to send it directly to our admission office, and our admission office is accepting WES as well.
Cool. Okay. The next question, do I need IELTS certificate? Do I need an IELTS certificate? Do you need to do IELTS? So you can answer and I can answer
Yep.
from admissions and immigration side.
So as you know, in order to meet NBCC English language requirements, you need to provide one of the English proficiency test, which a lot of students ask me about the IELTS. That's why I brought IELTS. We do accept other certificates such as TOEFL, Duolingo. I will just share my screen and show you where you can find all the the list of all the certificates. If you go English language requirements, and here you can see what English proficiency test is accepted by NBCC. So there is numbers of those. And some of the students, I saw on YouTube a lot of current NBCC students, they say that NBCC does not require you to provide English proficiency test, which is partly true and not, because as outlined on our website, NBCC may request evidence of English proficiency on a recognized linguistic test or successful completion of a recognized pathway program from one of our English language training partners if the applicant first language is not English, a minimum 3 years of secondary education has not been in English, a minimum 1 year of successful completion and recognized post-secondary institution has not been in English. So in other words, it means if some of the students they did their study in English, our admission office may not request you to provide English proficiency test, but it does not mean that it will apply to everyone. And even if in case you did your study in English, it's up to our admission officer to request you to provide additional documents. So in general, if you feel that you meet our English language requirements, that you did your study in English, please apply as it is, and our admission officer will review your application. They will let you know. But for all other students who didn't do their study in English, please provide one of those certificates. And I just want to remind that the deadline for fall is July 15th, so you can submit your certificate, one of the certificate, by July 15th. And we do offer online Duolingo English test, which you can do from any place in the world at any
Hmm.
time, and it's very convenient options for students. Yep, that's what I had
Yeah.
from my side. So what's is your perspective on English language?
Well, so two things. The first I would say is that as you'll see in the guide online for the student direct stream, so SDS, IELTS is a requirement. You have to meet so that is it IELTS 7? I'm blanking. You have to meet a certain
So
IELTS.
CLB 7, I believe. Yeah. So it means that you need
For
to get the general academic IELTS 6,
yeah,
no
no,
less than 6. Is this
right.
what you're talking about?
But for this, because it's not immigration, it's not CLB, it's just
Okay.
IELTS. Like it's no other, it's not like CELPIP
Then
or anything else. It's
yes,
so
then
it's
it's
just
6, I
IELTS.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do have to meet that requirement if you are going through SDS. So to answer, do I need an IELTS certificate? Yes, if you are going through SDS. Um, for all, if you're going through the regular study permit stream, um, the answer is no, not necessarily. As Hanny said, as long as you meet our requirements, you should be fine. Technically, there is no requirement for immigration if you're going through the regular study permit stream, other than meeting the requirements of each school. The only thing I will say on that is that unfortunately students have told me that they've been denied for their language tests that weren't IELTS. But we've also had lots and lots of students who have been accepted if they haven't had IELTS. So students have come with Duolingo or Cambridge or other English tests. I just have to say that up front is that there is a small chance that some students, for whatever reason, that's what IRCC states as not being accepted because of their English language, because they didn't do IELTS. But that's not that was a that's a mistake in my opinion on IRCC, because that's not stated as one of the requirements going through the regular study permit stream. SDS requirement. All the other streams, it should be fine. So I just had to put that because I know that some students have contacted me saying that. So I just had to put that out there, but that's not your fault. That's the fault of our government. So I will say that. And the next question is along a similar line. So it's, can I pay tuition in advance? And Henny, we would say yes, of course you can.
Yes, of course.
Um, yeah, we have Pay My Tuition, which is probably the most convenient for international students. Um, and for NBCC, it's not a requirement to pay tuition upfront. For immigration, again, I'll say two answers. One is for SDS, it is a requirement. It is a requirement if you're going through a student direct stream to pay the first, like the 1 year's tuition up front. That's a requirement if you're going through SDS. If you're not going through SDS, you can pay tuition, and that can show that you have um, that you've paid your school fees. So that's half the cost of what IRCC is looking at. Because when you're going through the regular study permit stream, they're looking that you have enough money in your bank account to pay enough for 1 year tuition and enough to live in Canada, which is approximately $10,000 for a year. So they're looking for approximately $20,000 that you have in your bank account. If you pay your tuition upfront, that and show that receipt, then that eliminates one of those costs. So so yeah, it's not a requirement other than SDS, but you can, and that could be one of your proofs of funds. So okay, so that's what I had to say. There's one last question for you, Hanny, which was about seats
Yeah.
available. Okay.
Yes, because I believe I already show students where they can find the seats availability list as one of the option for waitlisted applicants. But for anyone who is thinking about to apply for NBCC for fall 2020. We're still accepting applications, and students can find it on our website. And some
Awesome.
of the students also ask me about the future intake for fall 2020. First, we are planning to start accepting application starting from
Oh,
June 1st, 2020. So, yep,
okay.
that's what we have from our
Awesome.
side. Yep,
Yeah, so we good job, Hanny. High
yeah,
five. We did that in the first 30
30
minutes.
minutes. Yep,
So now the final 30 minutes, we can turn it over to our live questions, which we've already got quite a few. So let's dig right in. The first question was, how do I pay my tuition fees? Do you want to bring that up, that
yep.
website? Okay.
It's a great question. And
Mhm,
first of all, I just want to share my screen.
mhm.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I just do want to mention to students that um, they can reach if they have more questions. They can reach to. Just want to point out the resources that they can ask the question. Ask at NBCC. So just type your
Mhm.
questions, and we have database. Other than that, you can go to our NBCC uh, YouTube channel, and we post our webinars
Nice.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
we post our webinars here, and we add chapters. So if you miss our
Yeah.
previous webinar and you're wondering about something, you can go and look for the content, and you can find a lot of stuff that we did cover here.
Good job.
And yeah, just getting back to the question about, and we also did, as you can see, we did discuss payment options, so you can find your answer about how to pay tuition
Okay.
here as well. But since I bring the screen, I will show students how they can find it. So in regards to tuition, you can go tuition and fees,
Mhm,
then just click the payment options, and
mhm,
here you can find how to pay application fees, how to
mhm.
pay confirmation fees, and how to pay tuition fees.
Tuition. Yeah.
Yep. And the only thing
And
that
here's
I
the
would
yeah.
say, yep,
Mhm,
that students ask me, can we do like installment at NBCC? NBC does not offer to pay a tuition through the installment. You can only pay by semester. As you can see
mhm.
here on my screen, you can pay for fall term, and you can pay for winter term. So NBCC does not offer installment for international students. So yep, that's what I had from my side. I hope it was
Awesome.
informative and useful.
Yes, very. So the next question is, I mean, I guess for both of us, maybe more for me, but in relation to COVID-19, is there an effect about visa applications for international students?
It's a good question.
That's a very good question. As of right now, um, no, not that I have heard. You know, every day I'm on a national international student advisors email listserv, so I have not received any update on that. I will, yeah, I'll definitely keep my eye on it. In Canada, currently, I think we have, so the good news that we do not have any cases currently in New Brunswick. So for those students coming in April, that's good news. That's good news for Hanny and I as well. Um, we are taking precautions. I know that schools here, for anyone who has, and for our team as well, for anyone who has traveled outside of Canada, um, then they stay home from work, quarantine for 14 days, no matter where they've traveled outside of Canada. So we are being very, very cautious and very proactive in keeping everyone safe and healthy. In Canada, for our entire population of 37 million, we have 72 cases, I think, was the update yesterday. So, so, but as we know, this is a rapidly changing situation. So I'm saying that today on March 11th, that that it's not impacting international student visas or study permits right now. That could change, of course. But for right now, we're good.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Well,
So
we
yep.
keep our eye on this, and
Yeah.
the health of all the students at NBC is our top priority, and we will definitely let students know in case situation will change. But yeah.
So the next question is about a study permit. So my application for study permit was refused on March 9th. I feel I made a lot of mistakes in my application because my support documents and my letter of intent, hopefully, because I am doing that for the first time, okay, I will advise if NBCC can have someone on their Facebook page that can assist and advise, like reviewing. So for first time students. So unfortunately, we don't provide that service to review letters of intent or your letter of explanation. I'm sorry that you did get refused. What I would suggest is going to eh, going to our immigration, list of resources and guides, and in that document that I just showed about visa refusal advice. So those are kind of the top 5 or 6 reasons why you might have been refused, because IRCC must provide the reason why they refused you. Not in great detail, but they give a general sense. They have a statement, and I've listed those like top 5 statements that we heard last spring. So last April and May, we were hearing a lot of reasons why students might have been refused, and from that, I created that resource for some things to consider when reapplying. So so we do not review letters or applications. We don't have that capacity. We are, 2 of us for about 1,000 applicants, about or more than that. So unfortunately, we do not provide that service. But please check out those documents, visa refusal advice, and the steps, because in the regular study permit stream, I do also under the letter of explanation, I give like the 5 or 6 things you should include in your letter. So I hope that helps. Okay.
Yep.
So good luck with
That,
your second application. That's what I'd like to
yep.
say. Okay.
And I just want to let you know, in case you got the refusal, you can defer your program for the next year. So it's one of the options for
Right.
you.
That's a
Uh,
good point, Henny.
yeah, as you know, the confirmation deposit is non-refundable, but you can ask our admission office to defer your
To
application
defer.
for the next year. And
So next one maybe is more you, Henny, because I know that
yep,
you cover the insurance a bit more. So about COVID-19 again, is that included in the health insurance?
it is a great question. And as you know, it's we do not relate to GuardMe, and they have their policy and they update it quite frequently. But I will share my screen and I'll show you what is outlined on the website. Can you see the screen, Clara? Great. So if you at GuardMe and BCC department about early arrival, you can see travel to Canada because here is an announcement about
Update.
update. And if you click traveling to Canada, the information that already outlined on the website, if a student was,
Very good.
just hold here. If a student is
Obvious.
diagnosed with an illness when they're in Canada, including COVID-19, they're eligible for medical necessary treatment as per the normal terms and condition of their policy. So here is a
Great.
FAQ list, and you can just check what is current situation, and I hope you will find this useful. And just please keep your eye on GuardMe website because they might announce something. And of course, if they announce something, we will talk about this on our webinar. But for now, you're eligible for coverage in case, hopefully nobody need it, but in case you need it current at the current time, you eligible for coverage. And please
Awesome.
refer to FAQ list on GuardMe and you will find more useful information in this regard. Thank you for your question.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. And
Yep.
that's a good resource for. I'll check that out as well.
Yep.
Um, so what about placement of NBCC? I'm assuming you're talking about work placement, yes?
Or
Um,
housing.
or housing? What do we think? So if that student could let us know which one of us is correct, but we
Yeah.
can cover both.
We can cover
For-
both. Yep.
yeah, I'll say for work placement, what about it? It varies for every program, as we were just mentioning a little bit before. It could be like an 8 day or like a 5 day, like a 1 week or 2 week, very um uh I don't know. I don't want to say easy, but like a job shadowing, right? It could just be you're following someone around their office, seeing how things are done in the field that you've just studied for, the past 8 months. You're going to see what that's like in the real world of work. So it could be job shadowing where you just go and you're in the office, kind of taking it all in for a week or two, or it could be as big as being placed and doing taking on a project with a company. We had someone help in our marketing department last year, correct, Tanny?
Yep.
That then helped us maybe give us some direction. They were actually an international student, so they gave us some feedback on how we could improve our videos. Maybe we should create some, yeah, more YouTube content. So that you could be assigned to a specific project. And then of course we've got our mechanic and motor students who like go and work with like Mr. Lube, or like they these oil and tire change places, and they actually are doing the work. So it all depends on what course you're doing. And as I said, some are paid, most are not paid. uh, but one thing to know is you are still able to work your part-time job during that time, so you're okay. But yeah, it's just a really great experience to get your foot in the door, get a sense of what your field of work is like. Um, and yeah, I don't think that teachers are the ones who arrange that's the one last thing I'll say about the placement. I think it is on each individual student to find their placement, but it's a good way to get a first sense of what it's like to find a full-time job in Canada. So it's a good practice for that. So that's what I'll say about the job placement. How about housing placement, if that's what the student meant?
Yep. Thank you, Claire. As far as I know, some of the instructors do assist students with the placement, and
It depends, yeah, program to
yeah.
program. That's why I said, yeah,
In
depends.
regards to housing, the answer is not, but we do develop the resources for students. If you can check at our NBCC website under the housing, so you can just go and see what is available right now. But NBCC does not provide housing for students, so it would be your responsibility to look and find the place to stay. We will
Mhm.
do separate dedicated webinar on housing
Yes,
for students coming here in April, and we will
yeah,
touch basic and a little bit go deeper on what to look and how to look and some of the options. Yep,
yeah,
but for now it would be your responsibility. You can reach to our resources
yeah,
on our website.
for sure.
Okay.
Um, So the next one is also about insurance, early arrival insurance. So Hanny, we're going to quiz you on this. If the
Yep.
student planned to arrive 1 week before September, is there a need to buy the insurance, and how much?
Uh,
Yes.
Yeah, the quick answer is yes, you would need to purchase pre-arrival insurance, as your coverage starts from the day when school starts. So if you come even one week earlier, it would be nice to have the insurance. In regards to the cost, you would need to refer to GuardMe website. I know it does not break the bank because you will be provided with a discount rate. It's only for 1 week, so it's not gonna break the bank, but yeah, you would definitely need the insurance
Yes.
because
Yeah. Because
everything can happen. Yep.
that's right. Because the Guard Me insurance starts the first day of class, right?
Yep.
So So, but if you're going to be in Canada, whether it's a day or a week, get covered. So, as Hanny just said, you never know what can happen. The one time I traveled without health insurance outside of Canada was for 24 hours, literally 24 hours. I traveled to Seattle to pick up my friends, and I had a medical emergency. So it's always so that was 24 hours. So anyway, that learn from my mistakes. Please get health insurance, whether you're a day early, 2 days early, or a week early, or a month early. Get health insurance. So, I am. Oh, and this is a related question. I'm a fall student. Please, when is the best time to arrive in Canada? So
Great question.
we recommend. Yeah, it's a good question. We recommend
All
at
questions are
least a
great.
week.
Yep.
These are, yeah, that's true. They're all good questions. So we usually say at least a week, correct? That's our um, kind of average or minimum. Definitely come a week before class starts if you're able to. If you've got your visa ahead of time, which is why you should apply now. This is another reason why you should apply for your study permit and visa now. Um, yeah, at least a week to help you settle in, get adjusted to the weather, the language, the culture, but also find your apartment, um, find out your route to school at least 1 week before. Um, Probably maximum, as we talked about in the last webinar, 1 month before, because more than a month, immigration gets suspicious because one thing I always want to clarify, you're not allowed to work um, part-time or anything until you become a full-time student.
Yeah,
So
I just
1 week
can
to
add,
1 month. Yeah,
yeah, one
go
week
for
to
it.
1 month. And some of the students ask me, I have family, I want to come like 2 months before. In this case, yes, but in other case, as Claire told me, there is some,
Yeah,
consequences if you come in too earlier before the school starts.
I'd say 2 months would be the absolute, absolute, absolute maximum, and only if you do have family here.
Yep.
Or if you have a set plan for driving across Canada. Like if you have a very valid reason to come 2 months in advance, then that's fine. If you can show that to the immigration advisor, that's fine. But most people might not. They're just like, oh, I want to come 2 months early. And if that's the case, yeah, it's too suspicious that you'll be working and you're not supposed to be working. So, okay. Another question for you, Henny. How to pay tuition fees? We just talked about this, but I'm
Yep.
not able to pay because there is no outstanding charge showing on my account.
And there is a reason for that, because at NBCC we do not require you to pay tuition in advance. We only require you to pay application fee during your application and confirmation fee as soon as you accept it. But you still can pay through Pay My Tuition in advance the amount that you feel comfortable to pay. So just pay through My Tuition, and yeah, this information is not going to be in your account until beginning of September. Yep.
Mhm.
If we're talking
Okay.
about September intake. Yep.
Yeah. So, an immigration question. At first, I did not include my family to accompany me in Canada. Now that my visa is approved, is there a possibility that I can bring them? Any advice for the requirements? Okay, so one thing I would say upfront, especially to anyone who hasn't yet applied for their study permit or visa, is it's very, very, very important. And I'm assuming this student did did include their spouse or dependents on their application. I know that, yeah, it said you didn't have that you checked not going to be coming with me. That's fine. But one thing I just really, really, really want to stress to all students out there, if you have a spouse and dependents, you must mention them on your form. Even if they're not coming with you, you must mention that they exist. um, if you do not, that is kind of lying to immigration. Like that's uh oh my goodness, misrepresentation. That was the word I was looking for. I was like, what's the word? It's, yeah, not lying, but omitting the truth is kind of a form of lying. And so it means you're misrepresenting yourself because they think you are single, but you actually have a spouse and dependents. Um, and so the one thing I would hope that this student did was, you did mention them on your application. You just didn't check that they're coming with you. That's fine. As for wanting to bring them now, I I will be perfectly honest that I I don't know about this in between zone as much. Like that, I know that, obviously we know how to apply for it when they are planning to come with you, and I have helped students who have applied when the student has arrived in Canada and the spouse and children want to come. Okay, so before applying and after arriving. That gray zone, I do not have any personal experience in working with students on that case. So I will have to get back to you. I'm going to write that down. And hopefully, if you're coming in April, if the student who I'm answering your question for, if you're coming in April, please come to our pre-arrival webinar next week and we'll answer it then. If you're coming in September, let's chat again on March 25th, and I'll have your answer then. Okay?
Yep. Great.
I'm going to write that down. Can you read the next question?
The mandatory work experience should be added while submitting the documents.
Oh, sorry. Is that it?
It's a study
Yes.
permit related.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Yes, it should be.
Please, can
But
you oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, but if you, I'm also gonna mention that if anyone out there already applied for your study permit and you didn't put that extra mandatory work experience letter, and maybe you didn't get approved for a work permit, it's not the end of the world. Either when you come across the border or when you arrive in Canada and you start studying, you can apply for that work permit. It doesn't cost any money. But you can do it. You can do it afterwards. So if you didn't include it, it's not the end of the world. But if you haven't yet applied, do include the mandatory work experience letter. That's on our website.
Yep.
Or students, if you're getting accepted, if you've been accepted recently, it comes part of the package. So anyway, okay, next question.
Can you confirm if Nigeria is now part of SDS countries? I haven't seen. So I
Yeah.
can refer you to immigration website that I can
Mm-hmm.
show it right now. And as
Yep.
you
Good
can
idea.
see here, student direct stream countries, it's China, India, Morocco, Pakistan, Philippines, Senegal, and Vietnam. And just stay tuned, and as soon as they will add new countries, of course we will let you know, but there is a
Yeah,
source, good and solid source
it's
of information.
but you're correct. Nigeria, there was an immigration announcement with Nigeria that they were starting a pilot project, but it's not SDS. But as Henny said, do do stay tuned to IRCC. Like definitely check, yeah, CIC or IRCC
Yep.
websites for that to look at those details. I've been very busy with my current students working on their co-ops and work placements, so I actually have not checked on incoming students on that announcement. But I did hear a colleague mention that Nigeria has something new. So check the IRCC websites as Hanny mentioned for Nigeria. It's not SDS yet, but it's its own pilot project. But I
Yep.
need to get back on that.
And we also will keep eye on it, and as soon as Nigeria will be added to this list, we will let you know.
Yes, that's right.
Can
We
you,
do
yep,
update.
another question, because we got 5 minutes left,
I know.
and I try
Yeah.
to answer them as fast as I can. And sorry, guys, if we're
Sorry.
gonna speed up a little bit. So can you repeat show again how to get the resources that you just
Oh yeah.
mentioned it, please? So first of all, this webinar will be posted on our NBC International Facebook page, so you can watch the recording version of this. And as I said, I will add chapters to this video. But just for the quick reference, it's Ask Me at NBCC, and also we got NBCC YouTube channel, so you can go and see all our webinars that we did during the months of January and February, and check what we cover a variety of information, so you can check it there. So
But
that's
if you
what I
could go
have.
to NBC, no, sorry, go back, because if he's talking about
Yep.
my immigration resources, yeah, if you go to NBCC,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yep. It's a good
the other,
point. So if you
yeah,
talking about if you
y-
mean the immigration, you just need to go to visa permits and immigration and
yeah,
just click the resources and guides.
yeah,
So if you need
and that's that
this,
list.
yep.
Yeah. Maybe this is
Okay.
something else we can get our intern to do this year, is maybe tidy up our our website, make that all in one place. But yeah, always improving. We're
Yep.
Annie and I have been, yeah, every time we get suggestions from students, we keep them in mind and we try to add it on. So keep those coming. So this student is still waiting for a letter of acceptance. How long normally does it take? And how do you check the school credentials of international students according to the registered course that the student will take?
It's a good question. So right now we receive a high volume of applications, and it would take approximately up to 4 weeks to get answer from our admission office. And I would, if it takes more than that, just message us at Facebook NBCC International, and I can check your case and see what's maybe, because sometimes admission will send the status with your application, and students might miss it because it gets into spam folder. So if you can just message me at NBC Facebook on the Facebook NBC International page, I can check and see what's status of your application, because some of the students been waitlisted and for some reason they did not check like spam folder, and that's where some of our
Yeah,
emails ended up. How
awesome.
many years work permits are you entitled to after you program at NBCC? So it's postgraduate work permit, I guess.
Yeah. The quick answer is 8 months to 3 years. That's the range. It all depends on how long you studied at NBCC, whether it was as short as 8 months or as long as 2 or 3 years. It's the time you studied is usually the same length as your work permit. So that's the quick answer to that.
Great.
Um, I I got accepted to fall 2020 for business analysis program. I got my acceptance in November 2019. My IELTS score got expired in January 2020. Can I apply for study permit with the same IELTS score, or do I need to give the IELTS again? So again, if you got our approval for acceptance, and you're going through the regular study permit stream, that's fine as far as I understand. If you are going through SDS, it needs to be current. So that's what I would say to that. Yeah. Okay, so if you're going through SDS, you'll have to do it again. If not, as far as I know, I'm 99% sure that's fine, because if you don't require it until you are actually going to apply for immigration, which, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So, um,
But for immigration, you need general IELTS, right? And for
yes, that's
school,
right.
it's like
So
advanced
that's the
IELTS.
thing. Very good point. You'll have to do your IELTS again anyway, and it'll be general. So we've got 1 minute left, Tenny.
Yep.
Um, was the last question. When will I know if I need an English IELTS certificate from your end? When will they send me if I still need to have that? This is for September intake. While you're answering that question, I'm going to take a photo of
Yep.
these final questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So July 15th is the last day when is deadline for you to submit your English certificate, and you can just ask just ask the other organizations that hold the IELTS exam to send your English certificate directly to us, to our admission office. And July 15th is the deadline for that.
Okay.
Where and how can I find the schedule for the program? So I would say under there is no schedule yet. You will see it in your Brightspace account when this will be available. But if you want to see the approximate courses, you can go and check your program on our NBCC website, and you can find the program course under description of your program. And the actual schedule will be ready in your Brightspace closer to study. Yep. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think like a few of these questions are follow-ups to those, but we will, if there are any new questions, we will take them to our next webinar. Correct? Yeah.
That
Our
is
next
correct.
webinar will be happening March 25th. Yeah.
Yep, in 2 weeks.
Unless you are an April student. If you're an April intake student, you've got a link, you've got an invite to our webinar March 19th. That will be an hour and a half. Yeah. But yeah, our next regularly scheduled webinar will be March 25th, 10 a.m.
Great.
to 11 a.m. Atlantic Daylight Savings Time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So thank you so
Thank you for your
much for,
questions. Thank you for watching. Yep.
yeah,
And if there's any topics that you think you want us to discuss, please message us at
yes.
and Facebook on Facebook,
Mhm,
NBC International. Just let us know what
mhm.
topics you want us to discuss in the future. And thank you for watching.
That's right.
And see you in Canada, guys. Bye bye.
See you. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Bye.